Welcome to Brews and Boxing. Raider Live here, coming back at you for another week of boxing news and analysis with our panel of experts. One of them is absent, as you can tell. I did see him. Boys, I forgot to tell you on our time off here, I went up to the Muni and saw him and his bride, and spent some time at the Muni. But that's for another day, another time. With us, as always, is the one, the only LeBron lover, Filthy Rich. Filthy Rich, what's LeBron doing?
I don't know, but the Boston Celtics just swept the Brooklyn Nets. That puts Celtics all-time playoff record, went up 2-0 to 40-1. Who's that one lost to? Yeah, the 2018 Cavs, led by LeBron James. Here you go, dog.
Yeah, well, the Timberwolves are further. Hey, don't be opening that
Too
yet.
early.
Oh, what are you doing there? Too early.
Done with
Too
you
early.
guys.
Did he bleep right away?
No, he said I'm done with you.
Oh, that's what he said. Not close enough. All right, Judge, with us as always is Judge Jimmy James. Judge, give your verdict on opening the beer too early. That's a party foul, right? In the judge's opinion.
Oh, that is definitely you're in contempt. You will be muted at some point during this show, just so you know. Judge's orders. But I don't know, man. Go Timber Puffs. 2-2 right now. So they're playing as we speak, as we're doing this show. So let's hopefully they pull it out and do 3-2 in Memphis. So
for all of us Minnesota sports fans out there, it's a very scary time right now with the Timberwolves in the playoffs and winning a game, the Wild going into the playoffs to win a game, and the Twins are on top of the division. It all seems like it's going way too good, way too fast. We're all feeling like Dillian Whyte heading into this fight, but we'll get into that later. Boys, if you're, Filthy Rich, you already opened yours, I guess, but since the weather's warming up here a little bit, I got the old summer shandy that the judge introduced me to at a Twins game a couple years back. So, got that, boys? Cheers.
cheers.
And at the time, the puppies are up 4 points. All right, let's get on with the show. All right, Brews and News time, gentlemen. Time to get in some news. We don't have a lot of news this week because we got a big Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte thing to break down later and a bunch of previews for this upcoming weekend. But we still have some news to touch on. And the first one, of course, has to do with Canelo because we don't talk Canelo. We're not being bolder, right, right, Judge? You gotta be bolder.
Be bolder.
Be bolder. No bueno. Well, Canelo was asked recently if he cares about, or what about the fight with Golovkin. He said, and I quote, "I don't care about the fight with Golovkin. That fight is for the people. I don't care anything about it." And he wasn't impressed with Golovkin's win. Should he care, James? Should he care? Oh, bring it to you first.
Yeah, I think he should care. I think he should care 100%. It's interesting that he says the fight is for the people and that he doesn't care about it when he's, I don't know if it was right when he signed the deal, right before he signed the deal, he said that this is personal.
Right.
Well, I don't think it's very personal if you don't care about it and it's only for the people. So you're gonna have to pick a side and just stick with it there, Canelo, because that doesn't, you're walking contradiction at that point. But I mean, he also said he wasn't impressed with Golovkin's last fight, even though he said he looked good and he looked strong, but not impressed. But he's never impressed. So I don't know. I think this guy's I think he's starting to lose his mind a little bit. I think he's getting a little, I think Canelo's getting a little crazy. I think that clenbuterol might be messing him up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know whatever Reynoso's feeding him, but I mean, still can't deny his skills, and obviously he's still got to get past Bivol first. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of all over the place, but that's kind of disappointing that he's not that he wouldn't be taking this more serious. But
well, to be fair,
Triple G will.
To be fair, he also said that he was totally 100% focused on Bivol at the moment, and then maybe he'll focus on Golovkin after that fight. But if he's looking past Golovkin can still beat him, I think. Judd or Filthy Rich, I know your internet connection's connected to the moon apparently, but
back off. I'm back to earth, brother.
You're back? All right, he's back. All right. What do you think about Canelo saying he doesn't even care about the fight with Golovkin?
I think he's I know he mentioned, it's for the people, but I don't think the people want to see this. I think there's just you who wants to see it. The rest of us are like, we've seen it twice. We didn't like either result.
Filthy Rich, I'm the
Go ahead,
voice of
interrupt me.
America, and I want to see it.
All right. Well, look, and as far as like being the personal thing goes, I don't know where he's coming from, but we also know he struggles a bit with English. It's not a knock on him. It is not a knock on him, but I think what he thinks this is personal, the way we interpret that is different how he interprets it. I think this is for him. It's just like like I said weeks ago, it's like a tune-up fight. It is kind of a tune-up fight. Golovkin has never been at 168, and all of a sudden we expect him to gain 8 more pounds to fight a guy who is coming off a Bivol fight, win or lose, and who's been comfortable at 168 for like 2 years now. So it's not Cinco de Mayo, Mexican Independence weekend. That's always a big fight weekend. So who's the biggest opponent you can get? It is probably Golovkin. So make your dough right there and make it personal.
Filthy Rich, I want to ask you about that. I'm glad you brought up the Golovkin moving up 8 pounds. You got to remember too that Canelo's coming down from 175. Which affects a boxer more, moving up or moving down like that?
I think moving down, it's harder to move down and be yourself, where moving up, people just naturally move up. Now, we know the word, Canelo and natural are kind of a walking contradiction there. I think we were talking about clenbuterol not too long ago, but then you got guys like Miguel, what's his name? Not Mariaga. Burchelt, who has moved up and is like 0-2 since moving up. But in his situation, he wasn't good when he was down. He just got knocked out, so he almost had no other choice. But I mean, I always go back to Roy Jones. When Roy Jones dropped weight, he was never the same. He should have had Tarver come up to heavy to fight him. But
so you think this might be a slight advantage for Golovkin moving up to 168, even though he's never been to 168 before, since Canelo has to come down from 175?
Well, Canelo doesn't necessarily have to. Canelo can fight Bivol at 168 if he wants to. When Sugar Ray Leonard fought Hagler, I don't think Sugar Ray Leonard weighed 160. He stayed at his like 150 something weight. Just like when Floyd fought Conor McGregor, I think that was a 154 fight, and dude weighed in at 149. As long as you are comfortable with your weight and you can make weight, that's all that's going to matter. I think Canelo, if he wanted to fight a heavyweight, who did you say, like Robert Brown or some guy? If he wanted to fight Robert Brown at heavyweight, Canelo could probably beat that guy weighing in at 175, or maybe not 168, but you don't necessarily have to move all the way up in order to feel comfortable.
True, but he said he doesn't want to fight at a catchweight at the 175, so I assume he's going to be at 175. I don't know. James, you want to throw in any last words on that before we move on?
I mean, I would agree with that statement. It's going to be easier for Triple G to move up to 168. He's been at 160 his whole career too. So I think if he gains like 5 more pounds and they still fight at 168 and it's not a catch weight, I don't think that's going to be a negative effect for Golovkin. I think he's going to be the same Golovkin that we see. As long as it doesn't go any further than that. If it goes further than that, that's just going to be a little excessive. But
one thing I want to throw into is a rehydration clause might be important. Now, I don't know if it's in there or not, but Golovkin walks around at about 174 anyway. So he can make 160, show up for a 168 fight, walk around at 174. But if Canelo outweighs him by 20 pounds, that is an issue. We remember talking about the Danny Jacobs Golovkin fight where Jacobs didn't jump on the scale at the second weigh-in. So I think there should be a rehydration clause, but I don't know the details of this fight.
Yeah, I don't think they've hammered out all the exact details yet either, because he has to beat Bivol first before it actually becomes a thing anyway. But we'll keep an eye on all of that stuff. There's a lot of things to talk about with that fight, but I think we all agree he should not be looking past Golovkin. If you look past Golovkin, Golovkin's going to knock you out. He's going to catch you. He's going to still hurt you. You may not have the age may be there, but the power is still there and the chin's still there. So we'll see what happens. All right, moving on to the next one. We know this is one of James's guys. Hit the music, James. That's right, it's Adrian Broner time. Eddie Hearn said he made 2 offers to Adrian Broner, both in jail, I think, during the conjugal visit time, for a Connor Benn fight over, I believe, in England, because that's pretty much where they fight anyway. But Adrian Broner, if he can get clearance to leave the country, I don't know if he can, but he made 2 offers. Should Adrian Broner take this? James, I'll throw it to you.
Yes. Well, I mean,
Good answer. All right, moving on.
he has to take it, man. He needs to be active. He hasn't fought since he came back. Like, you be active, man. Connor Benn, if Connor Benn's going to give you the money, that's a dangerous fight to take. I'll tell you that. But if Broner's as good as he says he is, and that he's going to be better than he was when he did make his comeback, then take it. You're the underdog no matter what. You're going to fight in England. You're going to have to do whatever Eddie Hearn wants, whatever Connor Benn wants. But if you don't think Ben's nothing, man, take the fight. Doesn't matter what it is. He could be, what was it, like Kelbrook wanted 10 mil or 10 million pounds, whatever that, I don't know what the conversion rate is right now. So it's probably like $15 million US, but Broner ain't going to get that. But you take the fight. This is take the fight, get the money. If you beat him, then guess what? You might be back in the mix at 147. If not, well, then you made some money. You can hang out and, I don't know, hopefully post bail a couple more times, I guess, before anything else happens. But
well, he still owes a bunch of people a bunch of money that he still can't afford a Subway sandwich. But I can't imagine who Broner's going to get that's going to offer more money than a Connor Benn fight. But he's not going to beat Connor Benn. But who's going to offer him more money than to fight Connor Benn? Filthy Rich, what do you think?
Al Heyman will offer him more money. I don't know if it's more money you're necessarily looking for. I think you need to ask yourself how much of a career you have left. And if Al Heyman offers you a surefire win, just some scrub, but guarantees you, a half of what Eddie Hearn is promising you, maybe take that half and be safe. Because then the Connor Benn fight might happen next, and maybe it leaves Eddie Hearn with no other choice but to increase the money to $2 million or something. So I would say go with whatever the safer fight is. Forget about the money right now. If you think you have I don't want to say long career, but if you're planning to fight for a few more years, you lose to Connor Benn, and Adrian's going to be the laughing stock again at this division. So go out there and just take an easy fight, especially fighting in the UK against Connor Benn. The judges are not going to be on your side, or at least if you're in the US fighting some guy who you barely beat, the judges had your back on that. I think the rest of us had Adrian losing his last fight, but stay here in the States, take an easy fight, take less money, build your name again, and see what happens next. But that's kind of where I would go.
You guys don't honestly think that Adrian Broner's still in the title picture, do you? I mean, that ship is sailing.
Depends on what weight he's at. If he's at 140 or 147, definitely not 154. But the dude just has to make weight at that point. I don't know.
I don't see any
Keith Thurman. I don't know. Ugas. I don't know.
He's not beating any of those guys. I don't know. I don't see it. I think Connor Benn destroys him personally. I don't think it would get to the judges, but that's just what I think. Judge, you kind of go, maybe not, but you've always been an Adrian Broner guy. That's why he's your guy. You know,
that's not accurate.
I mean, I know he's no JoJo Diaz, but he's still one of your staple. So. All right. Well, Adrian Broner, if you can hear this, which you probably can't afford the internet, so you probably can't, but take the money. Take the money. Go fight. All right. Last one we got to talk about. Another one of James's guys we got to talk about is Terence Crawford, because, of course, we have to talk about Terence Crawford. But Keith Thurman. He wants to throw his hat in there and get in the way of the next super fight of Crawford and Spence. He says he wants to fight Crawford first, and then the winner should fight Spence. Is Keith Thurman just trying to be the most evil person in the world, or does he have a point? Filthy Rich, we'll start with you.
I'd say both. He's trying to be the evil person in the world who thinks there's no money in a Keith Thurman fight. Spence Crawford, if either one of there's just no money in a Keith Thurman versus Spence or Keith Thurman versus Crawford. He needs to fight somebody else and let the fans get what they want, what we've been waiting for several years now. So Keith Thurman can have the winner if he wants. He can even have the loser if he wants, but Keith Thurman's not in this picture right now. And to their credit, nobody's in this picture. This is the dust is settled. It is Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. That's it. Everybody else go fight each other because they got to wait. Everybody else has to wait.
Before I toss this to James, I think this is brilliant on Keith Thurman's part. I'll tell you why. Terence Crawford and Errol Spence have never been able to agree on the split. They've never been able to agree on a deal of what the split is. Keith Thurman throwing his name in there like that gives Crawford or Spence that out saying, hey, that third guy, hey, I can go fight this guy then if we're not going to come to a deal. Mainly Crawford can say, I'll just go fight Thurman for the same amount of money because I'm all about that. And then Thurman gets paid. So Thurman's basically betting that they're not going to be able to come to a deal, and then he gets to become the guy and gets paid. I think that's brilliant on his part. He's the one that's going to be that third man, that third wheel, going, all right, well, use me as the one if you guys can't come to a deal. James, am I wrong there, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's just getting news. He wants his name in the mix with the two fights that the fight that just needs to happen. There's no tune-up fight needed. Crawford doesn't need a tune-up fight. He just fought in October. Let's just make it in a couple months. Like, make it in 4 months in August. Let's get the fight done. Like, there's no reason to wait any longer. Don't do a tune-up. Don't do any of this other business. It's not worth it. Crawford's not gonna get more money for fighting Thurman. It does boil down to the split for who thinks of the A side. Both these guys just need to shut up and, you know what, do 50-50 and then give a just like Fury did, give a bonus to whoever actually wins. And that'll you'll fight. You each get 10 million. Here's a $10 million bonus to whoever wins this fight.
45, 10.
Then we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is now Thurman. Sorry, bud. You can go fight Broner.
What you want to throw that music in there one more time?
No, we ain't gotta do the music. I'm just saying.
See, you're starting to do what I do with the bits.
All right. So,
Filthy Rich, do you like my idea there, or no?
I'm not listening. Here's what I'm doing. Here's where I'm going. James mentioned in a few months, 4 months, August. Let me tell you, if there was a time where Cotto and Canelo were supposed to fight on Mexican Independence Weekend, that was Mayweather's day. They said the only way you're gonna fight taking away Canelo's day is if you fight Pacquiao, and that's how the fight got made. Excuse me, because that was Cinco de Mayo weekend, actually. Yeah. I think if Spence and Crawford decided they're going to fight on Mexican Independence Weekend and they're going to tell Golovkin and Canelo to wait, I'd rather watch Spence and Crawford, and Canelo's going to have to get off his date. What do you guys think?
That's never going to happen. That's September, by the way, but that's
never September. Yeah, but we don't have a date yet. But if they say we will fight September, that September weekend, or you don't get the fight, Canelo's going to have to get off that day.
No shot. Canelo controls everything. He's not going to be able to push him out there. They weren't able to push him off there when Mayweather fought what's his the UFC guy. He tried to do it the same like a week earlier. Remember? He tried to
2
jump
weeks
in
earlier.
He just said that.
Yeah. No, he was talking. No, I'm talking about when he fought the UFC guy. He's talking about the different guy.
What? All right. Here's what all right. Let me restructure this. Both fights will happen the same day. Which fight are you buying? I'm buying Spence Crawford.
I'm buying them both because Jim pays for it. I'm going to have 2 TVs there.
I think the public has taken Spence Crawford. I think Spence Crawford gets better numbers.
Man, I would buy both. I would buy both. I would have to watch both. I couldn't watch both. Just like this weekend, I'm going to watch both.
I can't see.
I'm greedy.
There's no money this weekend. There's no money this weekend.
There's no money to have a split. They'd be splitting money between instead of getting all the money. That'd be stupid. They're not going to do that. Why would they do that?
I mean, everybody's getting paid. So I don't know.
Right,
I'm buying both.
You don't split it. You're going to have people obviously going one way and not do it. But I don't know.
We'll
see as it goes.
Crawford. They're going Spence Crawford. You guys are looking over this so easily, and you guys are both wrong on this. So mute yourselves. I'll drink to that.
I'm done with you. All right, that's our news this week. We got a lot of things to get here too. We'll keep an eye on when that happens. Keith Thurman, take a seat on the bench. You can wait it out. Or go fight Adrian Broner. Go do that. Go fight him in England. I don't care. Fight him after the Connor Benn fight. I don't care. All right, let's move on with the show. First reviews time. I'm talking about the Gypsy King, possibly in his last match of all time. We don't know. Possibly. He says it is. We all said we don't believe it. But finally fighting Dillian Whyte, who became the number 1 contender, 25 years ago. Finally got his championship fight and did not go well for him, to say the least. James, why don't you break that fight down for us, for those of us that are, not for those of us, we all watched it, but for those out there that did not watch.
Oh, well, if you do watch the fight, you're probably going to want to fast forward till 30 minutes into the fight because it took forever for the ring walks.
It did.
Wembley Stadium is gigantic, and they walked from the farthest point in that stadium as they possibly could. However, it did hold 94,000 fans. It was the second biggest venue sellout besides the Mexican fight with Chavez. You have a question down there?
I just wanted to point out to Filthy Rich. I'm glad you brought that up. It's Filthy Rich. Didn't it look like WrestleMania 3? They should have had the ring carts bring them to the ring like they did in WrestleMania 3 because they're so far out.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
All right, good talk. Go ahead, James.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
I was thinking that watching you. I'm like, they need those ring carts.
all right. Yeah, so it took a very long time. So you're gonna want to fast forward through that stuff because it wasn't anything super special. But yeah, either way, once the fight did start, pretty much went how most people thought it was going to. It's pretty slow, not really too crazy of action. Fury came out, did what he was going to do, threw some punches. It wasn't anything. It was underwhelming, to be honest. I was hoping for something better. Threw some punches. It was a regular, slick like he normally was. Whyte didn't look kind of flat-footed. Didn't look the best throughout the fight. Threw some wild punches here and there in the first couple of rounds. Tried to get close to Fury, but really a lot of holding, a lot of the regular I'm going to put my body weight on you, and that's what they were both doing back and forth through a lot of this fight. Didn't really need much ref interaction, but eventually it got down to the 6th round, and to be honest, it was a couple of jabs, and then the first uppercut thrown by Fury in the entire fight hit Whyte on the left side of his jaw, grazed the left side of his jaw, and then Fury did a 2-hand shove to put him down, and that was it. Whyte, for whatever reason, landed on the ground, got up after 5, which I don't know why he didn't take more time. Ref kept telling him to walk to me, and he put his hands up instead. Then he kept telling him to walk to me, and then took 2 steps, fell into the ref and into the ropes, and the ref stopped the fight at that time. So it was called as a 6-round TKO. But that was about it. It was kind of uneventful. It wasn't that great of a shot, in my opinion, and that's how it ended.
Whyte was walking like Matty Bush out of the Muni at 1 a.m. I tell you, that's what he was walking like. But just going back to our predictions, I don't know who wins this. Filthy Rich did predict a knockout in round 6, but he predicted it was Dillian Whyte going to if you go closer,
I said if he was going southpaw, I'm taking Dillian Whyte in 6.
Yeah, and then
Dillian Whyte did start out in southpaw, and I didn't say that.
Fury.
No,
he said
Fury.
And Fury did go to southpaw.
Fury went southpaw in the 2nd round.
Yeah. So you're
not the entire fight.
Not the entire fight.
It was just the 2nd round.
Yeah.
6th round, I'll drink to me.
But if you want to say who had the closest prediction, Judge Jimmy James would be the winner at Fury with a knockout in 9. So if you just flip that 9 upside down, it's 6. Maybe he was dyslexic. Maybe he's bad with numbers. But 3 of us had Fury knockout. And then at least Filthy Rich got the round and the result right, just not the right person.
Don't patronize me.
I won't. I wasn't. I was making fun of you. All right. Dillian Whyte, what's next for him now? Go ahead, Filthy Rich. You tell us.
I think the wrong guy is considering retirement because Dillian Whyte didn't even show up. I don't know what all that was about, but
Whyte looked retired already.
If Dillian Whyte wants to continue this boxing career that he has, I'm looking at guys who are coming off losses. Daniel Dubois is looking for a fight. Another UK guy just came off a loss to Joe Joyce. I think he had an orbital bone fracture too. Something like that. So He should be ready in,
Wow.
3 to 4 months while Dillian Whyte gets himself together. Deontay Wilder is coming off 2 losses to Tyson Fury. Let's see. I mean, Tyson Fury said Dillian Whyte is no Deontay Wilder. So maybe somehow, if there is a way to get those two in the ring together, do it. And he's already fought Chisora twice, but go after Chisora. The last name I have is Chisora. Both of them are on their way out anyways. Go out with a bang or a sizzle or something.
What about a Ruiz? No?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know.
Those are the 3 names.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, that could be 3 of your names you come up with, but not for me.
Fair. That's fair. Well, Dillian Whyte, after talking about how he belongs in these upper echelons, sure did not look like he was even close to that upper echelon. But he does claim that Fury cheated and pushed him down, and he, quote, hit his head on the ring, and that's why he was knocked silly. I've seen many replays. Judge, I know you've studied the tape, and I don't see him hitting his head on the mat. Did he get pushed? Yeah, but I think it was the punch that knocked him silly, obviously, not him getting fallen down from a push. Plus, that push, you see a lot of that in heavyweight fights. They kind of push each other off a lot. But, Judge, what was your final conclusion on that? Is Dillian Whyte just making up excuses, or does he have a real gripe here that he was pushed down and he hit his head on the mat?
I mean, he laid his head down on the mat at one point, but it was definitely a push. All right. It was the uppercut hit. Dillian Whyte leaned forward because he was, I don't know, falling forward maybe, but Fury two-handed, like you can't, pass interference. It would have been a pass interference call 100%. You couldn't argue that, right? I watched a bunch of different angles and I didn't see his head slam to the ground. I saw him land on his back and then lay on the ground. I didn't see his like head, bam, like, you know what I mean? Like you usually see like, ooh, that was bad.
Right.
I didn't see that. So was he pushed? 100%. Was it illegal? I don't know. I'm a judge, but I'm not that judge. And I don't know. It's just, like I said, the punch didn't look like it was a good, like when I was watching real time, it didn't even look like a good punch. How he was so decombobulated, like it didn't make any sense to me. And why don't you take 8 seconds before you stand up? Like,
he didn't know where he was.
Wow. But yes, that was a push. I did not see him hit his head.
It was just one of them punches right on the button. I think that's what it was. It was an uppercut right on the button, and that's what happened. And Whyte was taking him, beating that whole round. I mean, I had Fury winning every round. I don't know about you guys, but I had Fury pretty much winning every round. Filthy Rich, what do you say to the judge's analysis there?
Yeah, he's a judge, not a ref. So yeah, I get it. Look, the whole my head hit off the blah 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 whatever. That does not matter. That doesn't matter. If you were pushed, that's all that matters. All Tyson Fury had to do was hit him with either one of his hands, and Dillian Whyte wasn't getting up. It just so happened he hit him with both hands. Was it a push? Yeah, technically it was a push. But had he dropped his left or dropped his right, Dillian Whyte was going down, and it was just a matter of time if or when he was going to get up. Now, yeah, he chose to get up at like 8 and like shuffled around or whatever. Look, Dillian Whyte didn't show up. It's that simple. You talk about 6 rounds for Tyson Fury. I think the entire world had 6 rounds for Tyson Fury. If the ref would have let that continue, Tyson Fury would have just like wailed on him some more. It would have just like extended out a boring day. So, yeah, just call
brilliant,
it
brilliant.
It was over. It's that simple. It was over. Tyson Fury dominated this fight. I can't wait to see where we have Dillian Whyte ranked if we ever have him ranked again.
Yeah, I don't see he'll be in there. But Fury, he was even telling the ref, stop this thing. Don't let him continue, apparently. And that's Whyte said, yeah, the ref was in his pocket, obviously. No, he just didn't want to kill you, is what it was, because you were not doing anything. But he announced after the fight that he's going to retire. He reiterated that he's going to retire, I should say. He's been saying he's going to retire. We all said last week that we don't think he's going to retire. Did anyone have their mind changed listening to him talk after that? Judge, we'll start with you.
No, my mind does not change. I don't care what he says. He's going to go fight a UFC fighter for an exhibition fight. I don't care about that either. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to quit. I think it's all for show. This is all what he does. He is a showman and a fighter, and he's a gypsy, man. You like tags? I don't know. So no, I don't think he's going to quit.
Filthy Rich, you think he's done, or do you change your mind?
God, I don't know. I mean, he did mention I'm retiring, and you can blame Bob Arum for that because he made me a whole lot of money. And this is a dude that he obviously doesn't care about money. He doesn't care about fame. He doesn't care about legacy. He cares about his family. I'm kind of drawing if anything, his wife and his kids will get him back into boxing. They'll probably be sick of him sitting around at home and say, Dad, get back in the ring. Honey, get back in the ring. And that's when he'll come back. But I'm trying to like draw lines with Tom Brady here. I don't know what happened there, but I'd like to think Tyson Fury's a man of his word. But if his family wants him to be back in the ring, I think he will show back up. So I am on the fence.
Well, he said that he promised his wife Paris after the second Deontay Wilder fight that he wasn't going to fight again. And then they had the third fight and then this fight. So I'll tell you right now, he's probably one of the most honest people in boxing, but money's money and they're gypsy and gypsies love money. So I think that he's not going to stop.
Did you say that?
Yeah. Why can't I, man?
They don't care. Well, he gives away all of his money. And that's the other thing. If there's big money fight, you could talk him into, you got an Anthony Joshua or Usyk fight. There's $100 million on the line. You could donate half of that to a charity and take care of everyone. Like he seems the kind of person that would do something like that. So yeah, I guess if the money is out there, he can be talked into it.
You said he doesn't care about his legacy. He definitely cares about his legacy.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
already talking about he's the GOAT. He's the best.
No, he does not care. He was just on the Kellerman show saying he doesn't care about legacy.
But he just said after the fight that he's the greatest of all time. He's the GOAT. And once people start telling him you aren't.
But yeah, he's not. Now he calls him. Every fighter calls himself that. Mayweather calls himself. Every fighter thinks they're the best of all time. Tyson Fury is actually close to being the greatest of all time, but he has not had enough names on his resume to make that argument. He's probably outside the top 10 of all time, but there's like 10 guys he needs to beat in order to get his name at the top, and he can do it. I don't see anybody beating Tyson Fury. He's like the heavyweight Fundura. Yes.
Well, I'm glad you guys say that because I was the only one that had Tyson Fury number one in our heavyweight.
Yeah, mute yourself.
Number one. So no, I'm pointing out that I did. I was the only one that had Tyson Fury at number one. By the way, all three of you guys had him at two. I had him at one.
No.
Good to hear you say that. But here's what I'll say about the retirement talk. Let me talk on this one. Here's what I say about the retirement talk. He will retire. He won't come back the longer it takes because he's already shown that like when he's on a layoff, it's not good for him. He gained a lot of weight. Didn't he gain? He was like a 400-pounder when he had to lay off the last time.
He won a championship, bunch of money, and then did cocaine. And he had he partied.
But now you're older, and it's a lot harder to take. Trust me, as someone in his 40s, it's a lot harder to take off weight the older you get. And he ain't going to be able to do that kind of comeback again. If he's out for an extended period of time and he gains a bunch of weight, he ain't coming back. But if he gets an offer, you know, say he goes to the Joshua fight and he's there and they challenge him. Maybe he'll take that fight if there's a lot of money involved or something. I don't know.
I had Fury 3. I didn't have him 2, like you said. That's why I was interrupting you.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm the only one that had him at 1 is what I'm saying. And now it sounds like you're good because you said no one will beat him. So you have him at 1 now.
I don't. He needs the body of work too. But like Joshua and Usyk, I have them 1 and 2, and he's got to beat Joshua and Usyk, probably a Daniel Dubois and a Joe Joyce.
They got to beat him. He's the champ.
No, I'm saying to cement his legacy as the greatest, he has to beat those guys. It don't matter if they like.
We're just talking Filthy 5, though. Filthy 5, he's number 1 right now. He should be number 1. Right?
I think you changed the subject.
Oh, well, I was talking about where you had it ranked.
Yeah, I'm ranked at 3. It don't matter, man. We're running in circles right now.
No, we're talking in circles.
That's your host, man. Your drunk host.
Yeah, it is.
That's just a drunk Rich up there opening the beer early.
Yeah, someone popped the beer early, and then we've been playing catch up ever since. So
don't pretend you're innocent up there, buddy.
Yeah.
And these guys pregame. So the fans, they pregame without me, man. I
Those
don't
bush
pop anything
lattes
open
really
till we get
affect you
started.
pretty hard there, Filthy Rich. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. We got some fights coming up this weekend, so let's go ahead and move on with the
Like
show.
you.
Bruising previews time, and I'm not sure, but James, maybe you talk about it. I think this is the first time we've previewed a women's boxing fight. Is this true? I think it is.
I don't believe so. I
Like
feel
an
like
actual
I've talked
preview
about a
preview?
Michaela Mayer fight.
We may have. You may be right, but this is a big fight. This is the biggest women's fight that we've ever had. Serrano versus Katie Taylor, big fight. James, break this one down as you are our local women's boxing expert. Go ahead and break it on down.
Oh, this is according to most number 1 against number 3, pound for pound in their respective. So this is going to be a really good women's fight. I know a lot of people probably don't like women's boxing. 2-minute rounds, real short, not a lot of knockdowns, not a lot of knockouts. But man, you don't get the chance to see pound for pound greats actually fight each other very often in any sport. So this is going to be a great fight. Serrano is 42-1 with 30 knockouts, so 71% knockout percentage.
In women's boxing is gross.
She's fought in 7 divisions. She's held 9 titles. So she's 7 divisions. That's Pacquiao.
She's the female Pacquiao.
Right? Katie Taylor's 20-0, only 6 knockouts. So not as great, but this is going to be a pretty even fight, to be honest. Serrano's a southpaw. Taylor's orthodox. They're pretty much the same height. They pretty much have the same reach advantage. There's really not going to be a big gap to where one person's just dominant over the others. Like a what you said, Fondura earlier. This ain't a Fondura type ass thing, right? Like anything like that. So they're going to be fighting at featherweight or lightweight. Sorry. This is going to be, you're going to want to watch this fight 100%. Just to put it in perspective, for boxing fans, that the pre-sale tickets for this fight at MSG, this is the second highest selling pre-sale boxing event in Madison Square Garden in their history. So
all time. So if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. Oddsmakers got pretty much dead even as far as boxing goes. Serrano comes in at -147. Katie Taylor comes in at +122. So it's just a very, very slight underdog, but as even as you could possibly make it. Filthy Rich, before we get to predictions, do you have anything to add to Judge's analysis there?
No, I think he covered just about everything. He should do the other one too.
Well done, James. All right, we'll go with predictions here. Filthy Rich, we'll start with you.
I'll take Katie Taylor. Some sort of decision.
Well, there'd be one or
split decision.
Split decision. All right, by Katie Taylor playing in the +122. Judge Jimmy James, where are you going with it?
Ooh, this is going to be, I think it's going to be an inside fight. I think this is going to be tough. I think I'm going to have to give it, because they're only 2 years in age. So Taylor's technically older than Serrano is. So I'm going to have to give the edge to Serrano because she has more power. Just because of that just doesn't happen in this division. I'm probably going to give the edge to Serrano. It's probably not going to happen, but it's probably going to end up being a decision. But I'm going to say she knocks him out in 10. All
right, give me the southpaw Serrano. I'll take Serrano in a decision. I'm going to go a majority decision. I think one judge is going to have it as a draw, and Serrano's going to win 2 others. I'll take a majority decision for this one. All right, next one. Filthy Rich wanted to pass it over, but I'm not going to allow him to do that. Shakur Stevenson is going to be fighting Oscar Valdez. Rich, you're going to have to break this one down because James already took the first one.
Look, this, I think on paper, is supposed to be a really good fight, but Katie Taylor, Serrano is going to steal the show on this night because I think Shakur is just too good for Oscar Valdez. Again, these two are, Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson, are like basically 1 and 2 in the super featherweight division, but I don't think it's close. I think Shakur is just light years better than Valdez. I think Shakur just hasn't really been tested. Maybe Jamel Herring was a test, but just dominated Jamel Herring. I expect the same thing to happen here. Yeah, that's all I can really tell you. So it's probably be a quick fight. I know both fighters are looking forward to the Taylor Serrano fight, actually. So this will be on, I believe, ESPN Plus or ESPN pay-per-view, one of the two outlets there. And yes, Shakur should be the heavy favorite.
He is the heavy favorite, but Valdez, man, he looked good against Berchelt, though, didn't he? He sure.
There was a fight after Berchelt and
Robson Conceição.
Yeah,
and I think I did he test positive for a banned substance,
he
but he
might
didn't
have.
get suspended. It was a weird situation. He tested positive, but they didn't suspend him for whatever reason. But he struggled against Conceição.
Oh yeah.
If that was a struggle, I'd hate to see what happens when you get in the ring with Stevenson. So that's why I don't think this is. It probably deserves some hype, but don't get your hopes up. You're going to be let down.
Yeah, he did look good against Berchelt, though, didn't he? Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, but then Berchelt has been nothing since then. That was probably the end of the Berchelt era because he hasn't won a fight since then. I think he's lost 2 fights, maybe just 1. But yeah, Berchelt hasn't been the same. Shakur is he's something else. He's a different dimension.
Else. I will give you that. Judge, you have anything to add to Filthy Rich's breakdown?
Add a lot, James.
I mean, I can add some stuff. I mean, yeah, Valdez lost his last fight against Conceição. I don't care what that was. Conceição messed up in the last 3 rounds and was dancing around like a fool with his hands up and wasn't throwing punches because he thought it was a whatever. Valdez should have one loss, 100%. He did not look good against Conceição. And look at the faces afterwards. Boy, oh boy, man. And I like Valdez, but it's Shakur Stevenson, dude. Shakur Stevenson is just so much better. And if he fights like he does with Herring, my God. I don't know. Southpaw versus Orthodox, you're going to see a lot of foot tapping, a lot of dancing, things like that.
Don't step on the foot. Don't step on the foot.
The only big thing is Shakur's like 4 inches taller than Valdez. So that's obviously going to be a difference there. Same like reach for the most part, but that's still an issue for that stuff. But I mean, it's Stevenson, man. His defense is too good. And if you can put offense into it, I'm sorry, Valdez, even with your like 76% KO percentage, you're toast, bro.
All right. Well, the odds makers have Shakur Stevenson as a -801 favorite. Valdez comes in at +541, so 5.5 to 1 underdog. Have to lay 800 to win 100 on Shakur Stevenson. What you guys' predictions? Judge, we'll start with you this time.
Did you have one last word you want to say, Rich? You look like you concerned.
I was just going to mention the age gap. It's not a big gap, but I think Shakur is like, 23 years old, maybe 22 years old, and Valdez about 25. So
Valdez is 31, actually.
Is he really 30?
Yeah,
31.
7 years.
Did not realize that, but I did want to mention there is an age difference with Shakur
31 to 24,
being the younger guy.
Right on. Well, on that note, I am going to take the younger fighter. I think he is the better fighter. I think he is the better defensive fighter. I think Oscar Valdez has giant holes in his game. I think he was already exposed. I don't know how he's going to do after his last fight against Conceição. I think he's going to lose. I don't think he's going to lose by a knockout, but I think it's going to be real close. I think he's going to lose by unanimous decision, and it's going to be a pretty bad decision. I think he's going to lose like, I don't know what is Lopez like 11-4, 12-15, 12-2. How many rounds do we have in a fight? Well, whatever Lopez thought that he beat Lomachenko by, I think that's what Shakur Stevenson is going to beat Valdez by. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a unanimous decision for Shakur Stevenson.
All right, Filthy Rich.
I'll take Shakur Stevenson. Let's go knockout about 9 or 10. I'll just take 9 because that's what I said first. But I'll take Shakur by knockout, and I think the ref's gonna stop it. There's gonna come a point where you're just not hitting Shakur and he's just tagging you. So, best defensive fighter of this era, and time will tell if he's the best of all time. But Shakur Stevenson is something else.
Top 3.
That's my guy, by the way. I'll drink to that.
Oh, it's one of his guys.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Watch him in the Olympics.
Well, as I said, Valdez, beat Berchelt, knocked him down 3-4 times. And you guys forget that Shakur Stevenson struggled with Toka Khan Cleary, could not
forgot
Toka Khan Cleary, the only Toka Khan Cleary, could not knock him out. TKC. So obviously, I'm going to be taking Shakur Stevenson to knock him out in six rounds. But I'm going to say 6 rounds. Shakur Stevenson. It's a unanimous. Everybody's got Shakur Stevenson in this fight. So some good fights this weekend. If you never checked out ladies boxing, this is definitely the weekend to do it. You should definitely check out that fight. This is a good card, top to bottom. Actually, you should check it all out for those last 2 fights. Anyway, but there's some younger guys fighting. Anyway, make sure you check it out. That's our predictions for this week. That is our brews and previews. So let's go ahead and move on with the show. All right, that's our show this week. It was a good time hanging with you, Matty Bush, up there in Lindstrom the other day at the Muni, having a little drinky poo and stuff like that. And hey, just so you guys know, we got a lot of good things on the horizon. Maybe a little sneak peek of something that might be coming up sometime. I don't know where, but it might come up sometime here. But you never know. Yeah, make sure you tune in and find out. Filthy Rich, why don't you bring us on home?
Just want to give a birthday shout out to my dog, Jordan. Happy 39th, dude. I'll drink to you.
All right. Happy birthday to you. I'll drink to you as well. Judge Jimmy James, if they're watching us, where can they listen to us? If they're listening to us, they want to see what I was talking about a possible thing coming up.
No.
Where can they watch us?
Oh, if you're listening to us, you want to watch us to try to see that. You can go to YouTube /Brews and Boxing. If you are watching us and want to listen to our podcast anywhere on the road, just go to any major podcast site and just type in Brews and Boxing. We're on all of them. All of them.
Raider Thomas. Nope. All right. For Filthy Rich, Judge Jimmy James, and the absent Matty Bush, I am Raider Live. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys all next week. Make sure you watch fights this weekend.